So obviously, you guys know that there's a lot going on in Cuba right now. There are protests over, um, healthcare shortage, food shortages. Apparently, the coronavirus has something to do with it. You got people waving the American flag in the streets because also, sorry, forgot to mention, it's also because of an oppressive dictator. So let's talk about it. And there's actually a very interesting part of this that you guys are going to want to hold on to. I guarantee that you're not even going to guess it. So anyway, I came across this, and it says Cubans are protesting communism in their country by waving the American flag. Don't tell Colin Kaepernick. I mean, the two things are mutually exclusive. It's okay to fight for the rights of Black Americans in your own country, and you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't take away, just it doesn't take away from that movement. I don't know why we needed to throw Colin Kaepernick in there, but yeah, they're waving around the American flag. And they're protesting their shitty government, honestly, the dictatorship, their socialist / communist, skidoo. Now, here's the thing. People will be like, well, Papa Gut, the only reason that Cuba is doing so poorly is because of the United States of America. Right? We have all these embargoes on there where you can't really trade in or out. And I'm sure that's a factor. Now, of course, that's a factor. The reason that we do that is because they have a dictatorship. And dictatorships are very open to abuse. Our country isn't perfect, and we do have corruption in our government. But, like, our way of life, we have a better quality of life, and people are able to actually express themselves. Literally, the criticism here of Colin Kaepernick is why our country is so great. Not that they're criticizing him, but because what happened last summer? The BLM blew up. George Floyd had passed. He was killed by that scummy police officer, and shit blew up. Right? Social media was active. There were people all over the place. The government didn't stop it, and they couldn't stop it because it would have suppressed our freedom of speech. And while you might say, like, well, the communism would definitely work if America didn't oppress them, two things. One, if your government is that open to being oppressed by another country, maybe communism is the reason why, and maybe capitalism provides more strength. But outside of that, it's almost entirely irrelevant, because the thing that's more of an issue than the lack of resources that Cuba has is the fact that they are systematically trying to stop people from protesting. That's the biggest thing to hold on to. They cut the internet out. That's it. That's all you need to know. It doesn't matter what's oppressing them, honestly, at the end of the day, because if your government doesn't want you to express your freedom of speech, which everybody should have, it's a bad government. That's it. It's a huge deal. People want to, like, you want to downplay that? That's massive. Imagine just not being able to speak. That's the problem with these type of dictator governments, like communism and socialism. They're always associated with dictatorships. They're very idealistic, where they sound really good, and if we lived in a world where everybody was the same, it would be perfect, but we don't. At the end of the day, you have a dictatorship running their shit. They're stopping them from being able to protest. This isn't the first time. They've done this. They do it all the time. There was like LGBTQ protests, and they shut it down instantly. They're always shutting down protests. They don't want people to have the freedom of speech. That's really what it comes down to. And it really fucks it up. But what I thought was really interesting, this is actually Joe Biden's statement. We stand with the Cuban people and their clarion call for freedom and relief from the tragic grip of the pandemic and from the decades of repression and economic suffering. Now, I'm not entirely sure if the pandemic is involved or if that's just the narrative that Joe Biden's trying to push, but I wouldn't doubt it, because it definitely puts a stress on other things. But yeah, I mean, the United States has been pressuring them to not be communist for a long time, so they shouldn't be, because it's rampant. It's open to being, taken, like, abuse, open to abuse. We should have some kind of like a republic or a democracy, or you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So they shouldn't. I mean, honestly, it's time for them to shift. I know people will be like, "Oh my God, the United States thinks that they're like better than everybody else." Listen, Western civilization objectively has the freest countries in the entire world, with the most freedoms for women, LGBTQ members, and worker protections. So. And it was apparently COVID's response to COVID was dismal. I would not doubt it. The Cuban people are bravely asserting fundamental and universal rights. Those rights, including the right of peaceful protest and the right to freely determine their own future, must be respected. The United States calls on the Cuban regime to hear their people and serve their needs as a vital moment rather than enriching themselves. True. Fuck Cuba. By the way, not fuck Cuba. People there are lovely. It's another really interesting thing, because and this is a little bit of, I guess, a personal, venting of frustrations. But, you know, there's like a lot of young kids in the past, or not even young kids, a lot of communists and socialists who would come in here and they would defend Cuba. And they would say these things like, oh, well, you know, because you'd ask very simple questions like, hey, listen, if we shifted to a communist system, how do you get people to do jobs that they normally wouldn't? And they would be like, well, look at Cuba. The taxi drivers make more than the surgeons. And I'm like, that's not really an answer. But they idolized Cuba for whatever reason. It's something important to note that I think a lot of people out there don't know. And this is one of the things I really want you to take to heart. Cuban Americans are incredibly conservative, and they're conservative for a reason. Right? Generally speaking, Hispanic people lean more progressive Democratic. Cubans are incredibly conservative because they don't want this to happen to America. Okay? Now, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker here. This is the greatest thing. This is the dictator of Cuba here. And I shit you not. I just shit you not. You're going to listen to what this motherfucker has to say. I'm not even going to spoil it for you. Just listen to what he has to say. Here, I'm gonna make this easier because I want to make it big, and then I'm gonna hide my face, okay, so that you can see everything that he's saying. Actually, what am I doing? Hide my face. What an idiot! Why would I ever do that? What? I could just go up here. All right. Y hay que ver aquí cómo en toda esta campaña acudieron a todos los youtubers y a todos los influencers que pudieron. So they use YouTubers and influencers. En redes sociales, incluyendo una determinada artista con determinadas características que empezó. Hold on, you missed. Just in case you missed that, they used Mia Khalifa. They used Mia Khalifa to signal boost anti-Cuban rhetoric. Con determinadas características que empezó apoyando el bloqueo y parece que después la presionaron y terminó diciendo que yo soy un tirano o alguno de esos epítetos. Y hay que ver aquí cómo. Yeah, so that's the funniest part. So they're saying that the United States government basically has a conspiracy where they paid influencers, I guess, to talk about Cuba, including Mia Khalifa, right? Mia Khalifa. I feel like some of you all know who Mia Khalifa is, but let me just remind you of Mia Khalifa. This is Mia Khalifa, okay? This is Mia Khalifa here. This is who he's saying. This guy's fucking creeping me out. Maybe that's, I don't know. This is the person that they're saying. The porn star Mia Khalifa. It's all conspiracy against Cuba. I don't even know. I don't know what to say about it outside of what the fuck. So, yeah, I think that we could tell by that. That feels like enough of a response to just see how, like, absolute fucking inept this fucking Cuban dictator is. They accusing Mia Khalifa of working with the United States government to topple. Maybe he's right. I don't know. Maybe he's right. Mia Khalifa sucks anyway. You know, she did lie to everybody about how much money she made and played the victim when she made like a ton of money off of all the porn she did. Remember that? She was like, I got like no money, and then it turned out she got a ton of money, but all the porn industries were like trying not to say anything so that they wouldn't embarrass her. Just put her in Cuba. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, this is definitely like a violation of individuals' rights. At the end of the day, everybody should be able to have the freedom of speech. And Cuba simply doesn't have that. And that's a massive measurement to me as to how like free a country is if you can speak up against your government, right? We have problems here. We're not perfect, but you can speak out against your government. And that's very, very important to be able to do. You need to be able to do that. You need to be able to criticize your government, whether you're right or wrong. You need to have the fundamental right to criticize your government. Hey everyone, if you liked that video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and TikTok. All links are in the description. Also, check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me even more than you already do. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all.